Welcome to the first episode of In the Chair with Barber Chris. I've been wanting to do a podcast for a while, and I'm finally going to get that going. It's basically going to be a podcast to kind of recap, what we talked about in the shop over the last week or so. Obviously, it's a barber shop. It'll be a lot of sports, a lot of MMA, current events. I'm in a college town, Central Michigan, fire up. So we'll be talking a little bit about, the college life. I fucking love all my college dudes coming in here and just listening to their stories. Reminded me of back in the day, man. Get to tell them some of my old stories from my party days. And it's a good fucking time, man. So hopefully another cool thing is so many people have come and gone, and maybe they can find this podcast and kind of keep up with things around here. So that'd be cool too. I miss all you guys. Like I say, basically I want to do this kind of on a every week basis and go over what we were doing, talking about that week. So I'm going to go back a little bit though here, because this is the first one and we're already into March, and there are some topics I want to talk about that were really, really big topics in here. So first off, let's go all the way back and talk about Kobe. What a tragedy there. People were asking me, and I was trying to think what, for my generation, I'm 40. For my generation, what would have been, the equivalent to the Kobe thing? Only thing I could really think of, and it's not the same, but kind of, but not, was in 91 or 2 when Magic announced that he had HIV. Back then, nobody knew really much anything about HIV. To us, it was a death sentence. I mean, when Magic said, I have HIV, it was, we heard, I'm going to die. Nobody knew anything about it. There was no social media. All it was, the news, people talking about it, having doctors on, trying to explain to you the difference between HIV and AIDS, talking to your buddies. I mean, I would have been, 12 years old? Yeah, 12 years old. We didn't know anything. We'd get in arguments over what it meant. What, does HIV, is it AIDS? Is he going to die? Is he not? And so that's like really and there's a 30 for 30 on that called The Announcement. It's a really good one. I suggest you check it out. But that's really the closest thing I can think of, and still not even close to being the same. But just the way that Magic's announcement shook not only the basketball world, but the country, and I'm sure some parts of the world that were basketball fans. So on that level, I think it was close to the Kobe thing, on the way that it shook everybody, but still not the same. As far as Kobe goes, in his younger years, I was never a big fan of his. We're close to the same age. He was supposed to be the next Mike. I wasn't having none of that. Later in his career, as he matured, and I matured probably, I really grew to respect Kobe. I mean, a hell of a basketball player, killer instinct, the drive, the will to win, to not lose is something special, and not many people in the world have that, and he was one of them. And he worked hard, man. And truth be told, I put off doing this podcast over and over again because I was lazy, and that's something I'll do at another time. And reading the things about Kobe and just that drive is what really inspired me to get off my ass and do this thing. So R.I.P. Kobe. So back in January 2, we had the return of Conor McGregor. I'm a big Conor fan, a big MMA fan. That fight was obviously not what people wanted to see. It's not what I thought it was going to be. This is what I tell people. Not what I expected, but not surprised by it. And mainly that's because when you go back and look at over Cowboy's fights, he tends to not show up for the big fight. So I shouldn't have been surprised by that. Conor came in with a great game plan. I think that was all orchestrated. He had been saying all week how he's been working on new things. I think that knowing that he's going to be a smaller guy at 170, going to be shorter than everybody. Those shoulders were something he worked on. I think he came in, threw that haymaker left to get Cowboy to clinch, and then hit him with those level change shoulders that nobody's seen before. Next thing you know, Cowboy's wondering what the fuck just happened. He's up against a cage and the fight's over. I think that was very, very great game plan by Conor. I think that's a little bit of Cowboy just not showing up. Cowboy's got to get hit a few times and feel the situation out, kind of float through the first round, and then he can start being Cowboy. So if you don't give him that, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get Cowboy. So love Cowboy. Great fighter. Love watching him. He's a dude. But like somebody in here said, he's not a main event. So what's next for Conor? My opinion, I think you go Conor versus Jorge, and then you do the Colby Kamaru rematch, and then they fight for the titles. Personally, I think Conor wants to stay at 70, and I think he wants to be the first 3-division champion. I have no ambition to see him go back to 55 and fight Khabib at all, because that's going to be more of the same. Wouldn't mind seeing him fight Tony, although I don't know if he beats Tony either. It might be a good fight. I think Tony's going to beat Khabib, though. There's talk about him fighting Gaethje. I just don't know if he wants to go back to 55. But it's Conor's world, man. He does whatever he wants, so we'll see. Every fight will be good. Get that Conor Nate 3, though. That's the one that's going to break all the records. I definitely think he wants to stay at 70, though. But we'll move on from that. I had somebody in here a few months ago, and he asked me a question, and I've been thinking about it for a long time. He said, if you could see any 3 musicians or bands of all time, just hang out with them and have them just kind of do like a private show with you and your buddies just hanging out with this band or musician out of all time, who would it be? And I'm like, dude, there ain't no way you're going to get an answer on that on a spur of the moment. I got to think about that shit. But I've been thinking about it. And if I'm going back, if you're giving me, I can go all time. So obviously, immediately I'm going to pick 3 bands or people who aren't with us anymore. Because there's no way I can ever see these people. So the first band I thought of immediately was Led Zeppelin. Huge Zeppelin fan. Would love to just go to a show. Not even just the hangout part. Just to see them live would be amazing. Like back in the 70s, though, would be fucking something. So I'd probably say Zeppelin. Then I thought of probably, I'm thinking like Chris Cornell. I've seen Audio Slave. I never got to saw Soundgarden. But to see Chris Cornell, if me and my buddies were hanging out at my buddy's pole barn, and they're all musicians, and he's got a stage and shit, and Chris Cornell was there just playing some acoustic shit, and we were drinking beers and hanging out with Chris Cornell, listening to him play fucking music, I mean, who wouldn't sign up for that? That'd be cool as fuck. And then I really struggled for a third one for a while, and then it hit me. Fucking Tupac, dude. I would fucking love for me and my boys to sit in that same fucking pole barn with Tupac and just talk to the dude. Let him freestyle a little bit, but mainly just talk to him, man. Like, how fucking cool would that be? Sign me up for that shit. That'd be cool as fuck. But that's all I got for this first episode here. I want to thank everybody that listens. If you do listen, that's awesome. If not, whatever. So I'm going to sign off here. I'll have another episode up soon. Talk to you later. See ya.